So, you saw the title and now you're thinking, what is he on about? Well, truth be told, over the past few weeks, Hoyo's promotional material has felt a little off compared to what they've been doing for almost 5 years now with Genshin. And in this video, I want to talk about all the upcoming changes because it's no secret reception to Natlan has been, let's say controversial to say the least. Hence, I will quickly address this as well, but most importantly, it just seems like 6.0 is going to be a huge step for Genshin. I mean, the devs literally attached a new name for it, Song of the Welkin Moon. Plus, and I don't see many people talking about it, but the upcoming UGC mode that's supposedly coming out this year actually may have a huge influence over Genshin. And so with all of these things combined together, I want to share my thoughts about this because I feel like this game will never feel the same after Nod-Krai arrives. So, with the video's premise out of the way, let's talk about all of these things. But before we get into it, this video is sponsored by Scarlet Covenant, a 2D kimono girl card anime RPG. Now, it's no secret this game has some of the most cultured approach to the genre, but besides admiring the artwork, there's still an interesting post-apocalyptic story to explore where you, as the Awakener, lead the kimono girl cases. And on August 24th, the new Witch's Den gameplay event has launched, featuring 2 new witches, Prinny and Nightingale, whom you can chat with, where they will reply back to you with AI-powered responses. But you could also check on them daily and unlock exclusive storylines. Plus, the new combat system helps level up the witch, and in result, this enhances her teammates, and she can even activate her powerful skill for that extra oomph. If that's not enough, on August, a 150-day sign-in event starts, where you can earn up to 24 SSR and 6 UR characters, including the witch Prinny. In fact, the game just added a new case, Anna. She's got an insane damage potential, and she's considered one of the top units, so she's definitely worth pulling for. But not only that, she's got an extra spicy oath outfit. Talk about getting ready for a wedding. But besides that, right now is also a great time to get into the game. The new event, Witches Whispers, introduces a bunch of awesome rewards that you can claim, including a top of event, where you can get up to 2000% rebate, and all you have to do is log in with your GT Arcade account. So make sure to download Scarlet Covenant by using my link in the description or by scanning the QR code, and don't forget to use my gift code shown here. Most important of all, you'll also help support my channel. Okay, so after that spicy sponsor, let's first talk about the expectations Hoyo is setting up with Nod-Krai. But to expect something means looking at the past actions. Look, I know the topic about Natlan has been overdone in this space, so instead of the usual, I just asked you guys to tell me which region you consider to be your least enjoyable. And surprisingly enough, it was almost an equal split between Natlan, Sumeru, and Inazuma. And I get it, Inazuma had a messy arc on quest, the puzzles were so-so, and it was Hoyo's first major region, so can't blame them too much for going big. Now, Sumeru, I'm guessing most remember the endless desert areas and tons of underground zones that, by the way, had no mapping to backtrack your progress. And then finally, we have Natlan. Enough has been said about it, but I think a good indicator of why it was so controversial also has to do with Fontaine. Just look at how few people chose Fontaine as least enjoyable. Granted, the data here isn't super huge, and this is my community, so it doesn't reflect overall player-based thoughts, but I think it's clear that after Fontaine's arc on quest and world building, there was a split of opinion regarding Natlan. And now we have Nod-Krai that's coming up, and based on the reception that I've been analyzing in the past, and by that I literally mean just reading hundreds of comments left on social media, people are pretty excited about 6.0. And it kinda makes sense because, first of all, the teased characters include Vodka, who we've been hearing about literally since 1.0, same goes for Alice, and even Durin's homunculus form was revealed during 5.6, and it's now confirmed he will be playable in Nod-Krai. Oh, and let's not forget, this place will be the hub for Harbingers, and 2 of them will be playable. The 7th Harbinger Sandrone, who is an automaton researcher, and then of course 3rd Harbinger Columbina, the Moon Maiden who is worshipped by the Frost Science. Or basically I believe she's going to be the unofficial Archon of this region, so to speak. By the way, I never heard how their names are pronounced, hopefully I'm not butchering them. Still, point is, some of the cast here is familiar, and maybe some Natlan characters were hidden deep in the lore before their announcement, but at least 5 units here have had a very clear following since their initial debut. Basically what I'm trying to say is that Nod-Krai feels more familiar than Natlan when it was first announced, which I feel like is always easier for people to appreciate. And even Hoyo knows that, because I believe they went with 9 announced units before Natlan update, well 10 if we count Aha, whereas 11 Nod-Krai characters were confirmed by the devs not long ago. The other big thing that seems to be quite anticipated by the community has to be the grounded rules of Genshin's world building. I can't personally vouch for this yet because, yeah, Natlan had a bunch of modern tech like motorcycles, DJ sets, and so on, and a lot of people felt they were out of place, but until I can actually explore Nod-Krai, like, I'm not sure if it won't feel out of place either. But I do think Fontaine was kinda able to achieve the perfect middle ground by going with the whole steampunk style. So so perhaps that's the way how Nod-Krai will look like. And to be honest, even when looking at the character splash art, they definitely feel grounded to Genshin's overall art style. Or basically, Nod-Krai feels more like Genshin than Natlan did, which to me at least seemed more like a full-on shonen adaptation, which is funny because Genshin literally has harbingers ranked by their power level or something, maybe influence too, but you get it. Finally, the last important thing to mention would be that Nod-Krai will be breaking away from the usual convention of the update cycle. Since 1.0, it's always been the same. Go to the next Elements region, save the Archon and its people, rinse and repeat. It's possible this storytelling formula will be reused yet again, but Hoyo has stated they are looking to tie in all the loose ends of all the other scattered stories. So we'll have to see how that works out, but ultimately, Genshin, no. Song of the Welkin Moon is definitely going to break out of the usual routine, at least in some way. Speaking of new Genshin, have you guys heard about the UGC mode? What is it even? Because I don't see many people discussing it, or even fully understanding its potential, or even the consequences it might bring. Let's talk about it. Alright, so far, not much has been revealed about it, but Genshin UGC, or user-generated content, is going to be some kind of a editor engine plus game mode. Think of it like Roblox or Mario Maker, but with Genshin's assets. It's supposedly coming this year, so probably after a few Nod-Krai update cycles, and with the official details so far, it seems like you'll be able to experience this new game mode both in solo and co-op. In fact, there's even going to be hubs, or like shared social spaces as they call it, where you can gather in a multiplayer lobby with others before queuing up for the next stage. Still, the most crucial thing here is the power of the editor. Again, not many details, but from the few images the devs posted, we can see the panel to the right which has a bunch of toggles and numbers you can punch in, and as someone who used to develop games, this looks like a rudimentary visual programming interface, where you can do a bunch of stuff with the sprite or asset, perhaps even give it some logic if they will allow it. I am saying this because Hoyo is expecting this editor to be good enough for people to develop simulations, party games, survival challenges, and even adventure stages. So who knows, maybe you can create some insane game modes with it. Me, as a YouTuber who makes guides for Genshin, I just want to have a bunch of target dummies for me to test damage. Honestly, I haven't really interacted with UGC stuff since I was a kid. Like, I used to make stages for Line Rider. There's probably one person watching this know what I'm talking about. But it seems like this UGC mode for Genshin could end up as a massive marketing tool. Think about it, so many content creators will get to upload wacky stages they get to play through, all the tiki-talkies and the YouTube shorties and everything, and if it blows up in popularity, while Genshin is an established name in the gaming industry, this mode might start competing with the actual game, unless the developers will put in some guardrails, and I have no idea how they're planning to do that. We have to remember that besides Genshin, back in 2020, I don't think there were any open world gacha games where you can pull for the character and get to run around with it, explore and fight stuff. It was all mostly just 2D PNG files and maybe occasional 3D unit, but you couldn't use them freely like we can now. There's a reason why Genshin started the whole trend of character main subreddits and fandoms. However, given the fact that this highly customizable editor will be launched alongside Nod-Krai update cycle, gives me the impression Genshin will undergo some massive changes in terms of how people perceive it. Again, that's assuming this UGC thing actually takes off and people will enjoy it. But it is possible we could end up in a scenario where someone says they're playing Genshin and it turns out they're just using the UGC with their friends, while the actual gacha game is left untouched. Will it matter? Well, to me at least, not really, but it is kind of a funny thought. Still, it does beg the question how all of this will work out in the end. Although, one thing is clear, this will be a huge change for the game, especially if new monetization will be involved, which I don't even want to think about it right now. Overall, when looking at everything so far, the highly anticipated characters from Nod-Krai, the break from the usual cycle of storytelling, the rebranding of the name, and on top of that, the new upcoming editor and game mode, all of this feels extremely different from what we're used to. Some would say this could be Hoyo's attempt at trying to restabilize Genshin's revenue because, while the true revenue data is only known to them, most analytics websites report that Genshin's revenue has been steadily decreasing over the years. And whether UGC ends up having monetization or not, it will be at least a good marketing tool to draw new players in because what's better than one level designer? Thousands of them generating your content. But yeah, hope you found this video interesting. The 6.0 livestream is coming, I'll make a video about it, but in the meantime, I'd really appreciate it if you could press the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you soon.